So, hello and welcome to the Prince Charles Theatre in Soho, London. Welcome to everybody on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed the magnificent film that we all just watched. Yes, round of applause again. So, once again, directed by Harv, and of course featuring the wonderful The Last Dinner Party. So we've got about half an hour or so of questions for you. It's going to be brilliant. So I'll begin with Abigail. I think the audience and everybody at home is wondering, there was a scene where you destroyed fine china of the set, but you have no shoes on. I mean, they say, you know, health and safety's gone mad in this day and age, but that looks pretty dangerous.
Not on our set.
Were there any injuries, or did you come out unscathed?
I, in fact, lost both my feet because of the blood loss. These were on loan from the V&A.
I thought it was a funny walk as you came up on stage, yeah.
Oh, that's fine.
Think about that.
I'll just lie awake and think about my funny walk. No, if you must know, they were, what was it, half sugar?
Sugar glass.
Sugar glass. Fun fact that I had to learn on set, it's not, sugar glass is very misleading. It's not sugar.
It didn't stop you from making it.
So we need better catering on set.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was found wanting.
And Georgia, fantastic scene where you're peeling your face during filming that. I mean, the obvious reference would be American Psycho, but I think you were reading Hurricane Season by Fernando Melchor. So what does that scene represent? You know, what was the intention?
It's so funny because those two things are like so unrelated that but it all came together so beautifully by coincidence. Because I wanted something to read, and we were on tour, and I stopped at a service station, and that's what they had, and I just brought it to read on set that day. And the day before, I was reading Red Dwarf, which wouldn't have made any sense at all, like some nerdy sci-fi thing. But I think the significance of that scene is how sometimes the feminine urge, that there's a kind of meme about it, isn't it? But that often can be something quite destructive to yourself. You know, the feminine urge to just peel off all your fucking skin, or go eat dirt, or whatever, like roll around in the mud, or like quite strange things. I think there was something very cathartic about kind of destroying an image of perfection on my face to reveal what was underneath, which was just my actual skin. But I was sat in hair and makeup for about 5 hours, and it sucked. It was like an airbrush gun, which had like a face mask in it, and they diluted it with water, and layer by layer applied that to my face with a little airbrush, like I was a car.
After a face full of makeup?
After a face, no,
So
the makeup went under and on top of that.
Oh my God.
And because it was so beautiful and glassy and reflective, and the makeup artist Grace did an incredible job. But I couldn't move my mouth or sneeze, which I do a lot, or like scratch or anything. So it was Harv, our lovely director, was like, "Can you look quite relieved as you peel this off?" And I was like, "Not a problem, not a fucking problem, mate."
Real
like,
method.
Yes.
It's a real film if you're having 5 hours of makeup. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And Aurora, I understand Aguja, the brilliant interlude, that was written from a place of seeking to understand your heritage a bit more. Could you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. So it's pronounced Jua. Sorry.
It's his Texan inflection. You have to forgive him.
It's the
He's not
American
from
way.
here.
But yeah, it's I guess like a specific feeling of shame for not knowing your language when you're a second generation immigrant. And yeah, I think a lot of people relate to that. And I don't know, you come to this country and some people, they kind of are like, why are you speaking another language? You should be speaking English. And I guess that side kind of seeps in. And then there's like another side at home where it's kind of like people want you to practice your language. Your family and everyone kind of wants you to keep that. Like, you've got to speak your language. So there's a kind of conflict growing up, I think, that I know a lot of me and my family members have felt, like my generation of cousins and things. And yeah, I was just trying to kind of talk about that in a really simple way. So the song is all kind of broken Albanian and just, the words are very simple. Like, I just don't know how to speak my language, basically. And yeah, it's hard to kind of figure out how to put that into a video then. Wanted to do it in a very simple way, just by having some emblems that mean something to me in there that you wouldn't necessarily notice unless you're from there. So there's like a chiftili, which is a instrument from Albania, and a plis, which is like a traditional hat in there. But you wouldn't notice it, which I quite like. It's kind of like, it's there, but it's not there. Yeah, that's... Have I spoken enough now? Should I keep speaking more?
Wow, thank you. That was brilliant. Now, Harv, tell us about when you thought of this wonderful short film. How long has it been in the making?
Well, in I would say maybe end of February of this year, started writing on the feminine urge, and wrote a treatment and sent it to the band. And it was after obviously doing My Lady of Mercy and Caesar with these guys, and was very lucky to do that. I sort of approached the feminine urge a bit brazen. I was a bit oh, it doesn't matter if I do another TDLP video. I was I'm so lucky to have done what I've done. And just decided to put the most bonkers thing down on paper. And there was a lot of extra world building that went into the feminine urge treatment, where it was a bigger picture and it was really hard to sort of sell just in that one video. And I think I sent it to you guys and heard back. You guys were like, we think this could be a film. and then you guys literally went on an American tour and you were like, yeah, we think this could be a film. Okay, bye. And then literally left to the US. And I was sort of there in my flat, just they want a film. We got to do a film now. And then it was a sort of kind of reverse engineering process of you guys wanted to do a film, and then we sort of had to work out what the kind of track list that would be, and wanted to do something big and grand. And yeah, so it's sort of since March of this year, and so it feels like the longest time to sort of be in something. But it all kind of came together very, it was yeah, it's a short film, but it's also 4 kind of 5 music videos, and I was told the music videos need to stand alone. So and then I was oh yeah, so what order are they going to come out in? That wasn't worked out yet, so they had to play sort of in whatever order to watch them in, essentially. So we decided on a loose narrative, which I think you can tell, and in a very A24 type of way. You know what I mean?
Cerebral.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, it sort of came from that.
Sorry, Harv. And I'm just remembering how chaotic.
Nightmare to
Impossible task.
But then these guys came back from the US tour, and I was so I've done this. And it was this very elaborate, you are students of a dance boarding school, and
We're doing Suspiria.
We're doing Suspiria, basically, is what we decided. Yeah, exactly.
So how rigorously did you stick to the pitch, to the original plan? Did you veer from that during the shooting process? Was it...
I think we came up with the catchphrase, follow your instincts. And that it was very much that. Yeah, we came up with that. That was an original idea. But yeah, it was I thought if we're doing this, it was it wasn't a sort of situation where it was the label had sort of approached us being hey, we want to do a film. This was coming from the band, which is so cool. The band really wanted to do this, and I felt very privileged to do it. So the most important thing for me was that there was, their wish list of everything they've ever wanted to do was just like in this. So it was this, sort of like asking you guys, especially for Feminine Urge, I was like, so what do you guys want to do for Feminine Urge? And everyone sort of gave their ideas. Emily was like, I want to wear a gold bikini and do like an ace guitar solo. And then Sinner, Lizzie had made this amazing treatment that was very much like we wanted to nail that as much as we can and finding a way to put that into the story. And then Abby had written an incredible treatment for Burn Alive that I knew was the end. So then I knew, we had Feminine Urge and then we had Burn Alive. So then Rora made an amazing treatment for Dua. And it was basically like looking at all of their treatments together and being like, okay, so where's the A, where's the A to B? Like, how do we figure out like how to get there to there? The result is, I think, like I said, a loose narrative, but there's something there,
Absolutely. It's brilliant. It was brilliant. I mean, the direction was absolutely fantastic, and the cinematography as well, and the color grading too.
Tasha Duursma in the house.
Yeah. So, for the real cinema goers in the audience and at home, could you tell us about what was it on film or what sort of camera it was?
Well, I'd actually defer to our director of photography, Natasha Duursma, who's in the crowd tonight. It was shot on 16mm film, and it was shot on a 416. Yep.
Okay. All right, a 416. Everybody at home, Google it.
We did a process called a bleach bypass, which is now, if I was to start a band, would be my band name. And I'm yet to figure out what that is, but it looks great.
Yeah. And interesting you mentioned Emily's outfit. So Emily, you have wings. You're an angel. So could you talk a little bit about the significance of the angel? Was it sort of representing purity, or was it just an aesthetic choice? Whatever the case, you look fantastic.
It wasn't representing purity. It was because I'm not very pure.
What are you reading into, Joe?
It was kind of a combination of things. I mean, I think like most things in the last dinner party, it started on Pinterest. And also, like, Abby wore some wings in like a really early gig that we did, and then Amp Studios. And I bought this gold pair of wings in New York when we went to visit there to do a gig, and it's kind of become my personality. So and I just kind of thought like, what does the feminine urge mean to me? I mean, like, I guess since I was 9, the feminine urge to me is to shred.
Come on, round of applause for that. And how was it to shred outside under the spotlight, under the school building? That was a great show.
Originally, we were going to do it on the roof, right?
Let's do it on the roof. It was too slippy.
So for health and safety, we did it in the car park.
Well, they look the part, for sure.
And the slippiness added to a wet down, is what we call it in the biz. It looked great. Yeah. And pyro, supported by our art department. That was Furmaan Ahmed. That was a sparkle machine that was sort of pointed at Tasha, essentially.
Wow. And Lizzie, there's a sort of dream sequence during Sinner. I mean, my first question is, how freezing was it jumping in that lake? When did you shoot that?
Luckily, it was a beautiful day when we shot it.
Okay.
But my original treatment was very much like I wanted to have particularly that shot of the eye with the swimming in a circle. Yeah. And so I was like, oh my God, please, please don't rain. But it was beautiful. There was a lot of slugs in the lake.
Wow. Leeches.
They weren't
slugs.
They were leeches. They were slugs.
They were stuck on.
It's
just slugs.
Emily got slugged. She was in a brawl. But it wasn't that cold. It was fine. And there was a fire pit at the end, and we were all toasting marshmallows. Apart from Abby, who was drowning with the slugs. Slugs in the mouth.
And can you speak a little bit about the sort of dream sequence of it? Aurora sort of transcends into that space.
Yeah, well, I guess the song is kind of about like my relationship to home, Yorkshire, and like nature and all that kind of thing, and kind of marrying that with more urban landscape, like moving to London and feeling more free and all this kind of stuff. So I like this idea of like a hazy, like, oh, what a beautiful, perfect combination of the two. Like, so that's kind of what the dream sequence bit was, like with my friends from London in this beautiful nature. But it's all a bit weird because it's like, that's not really how it was. And then obviously just a big party scene because that's fun, you know?
Was that ruckus? Did you all have a little real party?
It was pretty hectic because it was the very final thing we did on the, 3 days of shooting. And it was in the basement of the house that everything else takes place in. And it was like, everybody run downstairs.
Do you remember the asbestos scare?
Okay, I didn't.
Asbestos
I
game.
must-
I don't
know.
There was maybe asbestos in there, but yeah, we're fine. It's fine. It's fine. But it was really fun. Like strobes on, like really loud music. We were all just dancing, and it was a big kind of cathartic like end of this massive process that we've gone through together. So yeah, it was great. It was really good. It was a really good way to end that 3 days of shooting.
Fantastic. And what about dancing for Miss Benner? Was that informed from a previous experience, like a schooling experience, or was it just purely
Just vibes.
Just vibes?
No, I was. I worked with Tanya, who's here somewhere. Tanya Muldoon, I hope. Yes. Yay! Amazing choreographer. And dancer. Yeah, and we worked together to kind of come up with some sort of sequence that goes from a more structured, kind of loosely contemporary, into a sort of moment of like, fuck it, I'm just going to do my own thing. And then, brought in some elements of like voguing and Northern Soul, which was, it was loads of fun. Really quite hard work doing like 4 takes in a row of that, but it was really fun. And very intimidating doing it in front of Miss Benner, but she's actually lovely.
But that honestly could have been like, we shot that in a 1 take, and it honestly could have, as we did it, we were like, that could be the whole video. Like, it was genuinely, like, it was so well thought out in terms of Taya's, like, choreo, and Lizzie, I hadn't seen it yet, and Lizzie had sort of come into the room and was, doing all the movements and the choreo and like reciting it back as if they were like, you could see in their head that they were like, right, now I do this move and now I do that move, and it just like made it. It's such a special moment in the whole thing, I think.
One nice little tidbit, when I go down and go like this, it was inspired by Kingfisher, like grabbing a fish out of a river and like biting it and like hitting it against a rock to try. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so there you
I
go.
was like, it's just like little guy, little creature.
Hello.
And can any of you speak to the inspiration of Miss Benner? Who is she? Why?
Who is she?
Who is she? She's in the room with us.
Wow, welcome.
The name actually comes from I just realized what they're called. They're called like dinner ladies, which actually tracks. In my primary school, there was a dinner lady called Miss Benner. She was fucking terrifying. She was so scary. And we knew we needed a Tilda Swinton-esque character. And Tilda was busy, so... No, it was. We're very happy to have our Miss Benner and Chantal is in tonight. And yeah, she was like, I wanted this presence that, felt really demanding and like really, just chewed up the scenery and like felt like this sort of opposing force. And we got sent like a couple of headshots, and Chantal's came in, and I literally saw the headshot and was like, yep, that's her. I was like, that's her. And it's literally pretty much that, in the opening when you see the credits roll, it was that face. I was like, okay, that's exactly it. So yeah. We all know Miss Benner. We all know Miss Benner, I feel like.
Can we have a round of applause for Miss Benner, please? Fantastic. Now, Abigail, there's this sort of recurring motif of red throughout. You have this sort of Red Riding Hood image at the beginning, and then you're in the red dress, and you end up burning alive in red. Can you speak to that, the meaning of that? Why were you burning alive?
Why was I burning alive? Well, I feel like the most important thing that I wanted to get out of the burn alive section, and I guess the red through line, was kind of making a video about our experience so far as a band and kind of in the industry and making videos and being consumed and being seen. And the whole point of Burn Alive, it's heavily referential to Possession, which is a great film. And it's kind of, I mean, I don't know if this is really relevant to talking about Red, but it's just what I'm going to talk about with Burning Alive, is because we wanted to kind of make this video that explored the dichotomy of being consumed and being devouring as an artist, and you kind of make the choice whether or not you're going to be subsumed and taken over and kind of sell your soul and let yourself become just a person on the screen, or if you fight that. And obviously in this we don't. You know, the kind of ending of it is, you know, we allow ourselves to be absorbed into the screen and become artists and become images. And it wasn't meant to be a happy ending. It's just kind of meant to be a little bit like, this is the industry. You do kind of have to abandon a lot of selfhood sometimes. And it's just something important I think we wanted to talk about, rather than just be like, oh, here's a beautiful, perfect video where everything's fine. It's a bit painful. It's very painful to kind of have a Xerox celluloid version of yourself that you suddenly have to deal with and feed and live with in order to survive and be in this career. And yeah, it was just, you know, I don't know, it felt very cathartic and very important to go through that. As for the red hood, I saw it in styling and I was like, yeah, love red.
We were going for like a you referenced Sucker Punch.
Oh, period,
right?
yeah.
And like the sailor costume and the Red Riding Hood and like all of that felt very fantasy, right? So it was like
video game character.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. And what about all of you in the Joan of Arc outfits? You know, what was the inspiration there?
I loved
Why
those
Joan of
outfits.
Arc?
Vibes.
So big vibes.
It was just Rubina Machiori who's
Yeah.
here tonight somewhere. She's
Sometimes
an
it's fun.
amazing stylist and yeah, nailed it with that.
I mean, from my impression of that, of like what's happening inside that screen, is that like what's kind of playing out, as Abby so beautifully put it, is like, you know, on that TV screen is the sort of like on that TV screen is like TDLP as you know it. Like I felt like when we were shooting that was like a Last in a Party video that sort of never happened. I was like, when it came to the Joan of Arc thing, you guys had like referenced it, but I was like, it makes so much sense for the Last in a Party to do like a Joan of Arc video that's like almost makes so much sense that you shouldn't do it, kind of thing. So like that existing on the TV screen just felt like the most sort of overt Last in a Party version. It felt perfect for, you know, Abby to be watching this play out on the screen as this like fictitious band, you know?
Fantastic. And Aurora, you showed some brilliant maestro skills in there. Was that, have you ever, you know, been taught to be a maestro, or was that just off the cuff?
I am the maestro.
Yeah. You want to
I did a few lessons in conducting, but I didn't really use it too much in that. That was more like Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny, Tom and Jerry style conducting. That's what I was trying to do, because I thought if I tried to go too method with it, I'd get scared. So I thought, let me just go silly. It's more fun.
Brilliant.
I don't
Brilliant.
know. It's just
Can we-
silly.
Can we talk more about some cinematic or literary references? You know, I saw some Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier in there, Virgin Suicides by Sophia Coppola, Hanging at the Picnic Rock, Joan Lindsay, Daisies, Vera Chavola. You're going to have none.
Nothing to say.
Yeah.
I think, well, you guys have like literally just have the most amazing pool of references, and they were like super formative. I mean, Abby already mentioned like in Burn Live, like Possession, but like that was like you were literally watching that scene like right before we shot it. It was like
I studied at the Ajani School of Screaming.
yeah, exactly. And I think like obviously the original Suspiria, but then in terms of like the look of this, it was more the remake of Suspiria. But also I have to say that Cal's amazing, Cal McIntyre's photo of the album artwork, and a round of applause for Cal.
Where is he?
There
he
I
is.
think they're in here. Yeah, that was like it was kind of like I have to sort of talk about that just because it was like that photo on the mantelpiece. That was like where the whole look of this whole thing came from. It was like I sort of thought about like where that would hang and sort of thought about the color scheme in that and tried to sort of like build the world around the photo, if you know what I mean. And then it was like all the amazing references that you guys sent. Like Abby literally almost sent me like a reading list, pretty much, like of sort of films to watch. So yeah, we had a wealth of references, and like I said, like Sucker Punch was also a big one for like the Prelude to Ecstasy sequence. Hausu for the VFX was like a big thing. We wanted the VFX to sort of feel a bit juvenile and a bit naff, which was kind of hard to like walk the line of trying to get that but also make them look good. That was like a difficult thing. But what do you guys? You guys have other references that you mentioned.
In Cinna, the pre-Raphaelite painting references. We had the Lady of Shalott in the boat, and Emily as Ophelia. I'm a big fan of pre-Raphaelite artwork, and to recreate those was really cool.
Yeah, they were like in the shot list. We genuinely was like looking at these photos and being like, and we're gonna get that like in the lake, like over there, and that was the shot list.
And there are really huge themes of like sisterhood and, you know, experiences of girlhood and adolescence, innocence, and, you know, innocence versus experience. Why did you want to explore these narratives? What were you seeking to uncover there?
We're all a big happy family. That's right, Rora. Nice and smiling.
I think that the experience of being in a band together kind of is like no other. And I think, you know, particularly in Cinna, you know, we were lying among the daisies, just talking, and Harv was like, okay, just chat shit. And we were like, okay, easy. And, you know, we kind of sort of started doing like, blah, 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 la, 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 la. But then we kind of got going and we were just like gossiping about like Abby's exes and like, like just random shit. And you can really tell in that scene that we are just actually like looking at each other with such love and like humor. And yeah, and I think the experience of being in a band, it's such a strange bond, because you spend all fucking day, every day with each other, but you love each other so much. And I think that's kind of something that came across really well in that particular moment in Cinna. I don't think it's something that we necessarily set out to explore in the music video, but I think it's something that, you know, our kind of unique bond as people and as friends, just by nature of us being together, did come through in that way.
It was also kind of like interesting in the context of it being this sort of, you know, dance academy, and, you know, this idea of like people being sort of like all under the same roof, you know, through sort of circumstances that find themselves in a place where, you know, they have to sort of perform to succeed, and, you know, and like the bonds that you make sort of along the way of like, you know, this almost trauma bond link that comes through this idea of like trying to pressure yourself to make a diamond, I thought was like super interesting. And like when we looked at Suspiria, it felt like, you know, so like we had to do a Suspiria thing. It's just too close to home.
Wow. And other than the asbestos, were there any other like funny moments? Any blunders in there?
Oh, Aurora thought we all got scabies. We all got like
slugs.
Slugs.
Gave us scabies.
The scabies. Yeah, we all got quite badly bitten by maybe slugs.
We were in a pond at dusk.
Yeah,
in the summer.
It's gonna happen.
It was inevitable.
And then Aurora like texted in the group chat the next day, like, I think we've got scabies.
It's like the day before tour.
Day before
Guys,
tour.
have you got scabies too? I think I have scabies.
And I was like Googling scabies, like, I don't know what it's gonna look like.
Reader, it was not scabies.
So let's move on to some fan-submitted questions.
Yes.
So there are some great usernames here. Cow's Milk is Nasty on Instagram said, can you tell me your favourite movies and if they inspired this one?
Submarine for me. And no, it didn't inspire them. It was a good film.
Terminator 2, and yes, very
Can't
much.
you tell?
Very, very much.
I'm a big Terry Gilliam fan, so probably Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus is high up there, special one.
I'll say an obvious one. Tar.
Emily doesn't watch television.
I haven't.
Nothing so loose as that.
It's a difficult question at the best of times.
Puss in Boots, The Last Wish.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll tell you something. The wolf is fucking scary in that
Big
film.
inspiration.
They have a really. You know what? I will posit an argument that Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is quite Giallo inspired because when the wolf comes on, they kind of have that like the whistle theme song. That's anyway. Turn my mic off. Is that another George? Is that another beer? Can I have one? Thank you.
Beers all round. Molly Hawkins asked you to describe the film as a type of pastry. A type of pastry.
Ooh.
Sausage roll? I don't know.
Greg's vegan.
Sausage rolls.
I was going to say phyllo because there's lots of layers.
Steak bake.
It's not a type of pastry.
Yes, it is. It's inside one.
Sausage, cheese, and bean melt.
Are we just naming Greg's now? Is that what's up?
Greg's is good because it's what you take away.
Fantastic.
To take away, it's fine. Yeah, don't worry.
I just spoke into this. I thought it was the mic. We've had a lot of these.
Aline Vink asked what your favourite part of making the film was throughout the process. So, any noticeable fun memories?
All.
I'll start off. I think we sort of did. It was like 2-3 days in the house in Kingswood, and that was just like the best ever. That was like a dream come true for me. But I think like one of my favorite like just full days ever just at my job, like pinch me moments, was when we did Sinner, because it was after we had shot the other two, so there was like an element of like walls being broken down a little bit with like the band and like the crew and our amazing first AD Rose. I love you, Rose. Just like it was a bit of a dream come true. Like we were in this absolutely stunning location. We had the best crew, just being run by the best first AD you could imagine. We did like a barbecue. Isabella put on, our amazing producer, gave us a barbecue like lunch. It was so good, and it was just like we got to sort of like make things up as we went and just have so much fun, and it just felt like we were just like kids playing dress up. It was just like the best day of my life, basically. I had so much fun.
So Wisteria3186 on YouTube says the trailer reminds me of Melanie Martinez's K12 album. Were there any inspirations there?
No.
A simple but short answer.
She did a film one time from her album. It's not really the same.
In that way, then.
In a way.
Sure, yeah.
I feel like we were probably
I mean, it
more-
would be great one day to do a whole feature album.
I mean, we were
on-
more inspired by like Beyonce Lemonade.
Yeah.
So that's
Classic.
Or Florence
I think an astute-
doing the Odyssey. That's
an astute comparison, I imagine. But no, I don't think so.
Who can say?
Who
really?
can say?
And here's a good one, another from YouTube. How did you guys meet, the band and Harv?
Harv and I have known each other since we were teenagers, since I
Yeah.
first moved to the UK, and we met at a after party
Uh-huh.
many years ago of a band. They're very much a band, and ever since we have been going to End of the Road Festival together and like bumping into each other all the time. And then she was at a show, like a tiny little show that we were doing when we were doing tiny little shows in Brighton. And I'd seen some of her work and been like, oh my God, like so drunk, like, oh my God, I love, you should do a music video for us. And then I saw that she'd pitched on My Lady of Mercy. And I was like, oh my God, that's my friend. And I was like really hoping that it would be good because I really wanted to work with her because she was my friend.
It was the best.
And it was the best one.
It was the best one.
Buckley,
Get in.
I got to also shout out Dora, who's another director at Code, who we did My Lady of Mercy with.
Yeah, amazing.
And yeah, we had met obviously in a smoking area, of course. And I think at I think it was like my bestie Liv is in the crowd tonight, and she's kind of responsible for this collaboration happening because I was like in my house like playing like Elden Ring, like video games, like just like doing that, and Liv was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to this like George is in this band called The Last Dinner Party. Do you want to come?" And I was like. And then I did, and then I was talking to these guys, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna go shoot a music video like tomorrow." You guys were doing Nothing Matters the next day. And I was like, "Oh, I kind of do music videos." And then, and then we pitched, and then, the rest is history.
All right. So this is a great one. It's 2044. Hollywood is pushing for a Last Dinner Party biopic. Who, obviously, Harv would direct, but who would you all choose to play you?
Can I still choose someone to play me?
Go ahead.
You've got to be in it.
Yes.
Jack Black.
Great answer.
Yeah, sorry, Emily, I'm gonna have to fight you for Anya Taylor-Joy.
She can play both. She can do like a twin thing.
Yeah. She do both.
Oh yeah, identical twin.
Me and Emily, the identical twins.
Everyone always says it.
Yeah, everyone's always saying
gets
that.
mixed up.
No, Gwendolyn Christie. Brienne of Tarth. Hell yeah.
I'll go for Emma Darcy. Slay.
Phoebe Waller-Bridges.
Fantastic.
Brad Pitt.
I think I would be CG, and I would be voiced by Antonio Banderas.
Also, Puss in Boots.
That's a famous Latina woman that you are. Harv Frost.
Frost.
Harv Frost. Latina princess.
Would you ever have interest in scoring, a full film for somebody else,
Yes.
or perhaps a full film?
Yes, is there anyone in the building who would like to commission us? We will do it.
Anyone making films?
Yeah.
Joe, who would play you in a film?
Tom Selleck?
Yeah, very good.
Okay, all right.
Back to
If anyone's
Aurora.
watching on YouTube and is making a film, please,
In the comments.
please
Drop it
hire
in the
us.
comments. Who will play Joe?
Aurora scored our whole album. We have an in-house
She can do it.
I can
composer.
actually do it.
Please. She can, I promise she'll do it. She'll be on time.
She's really good.
She knows how to use Pro Tools and conduct.
I can conduct it.
If this whole
And
band-
score. You play instruments also.
So do you, guys.
Oh, should we all do one?
Please.
So I'm afraid we're almost out of time. This is the last question. Could you see yourselves? Well, this is Prelude to Ecstasy. Is there going to be the beginning of Ecstasy? Is there going to be Ecstasy itself? Will there be a feature one day?
Ecstasy is as ecstasy does, Joe. Any way the wind blows doesn't really matter to me.
Thank you so much
And
for
on
coming.
that note, everybody, please give it up for director Harv Frost and The Last Dinner Party. Fantastic. Take a bow, please. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Please stay seated for a moment while the band leave.